Hello. Today I would like to show you how to convert an existing blue sheet into the new macro embedded blue sheet format that we have. On the left you'll see the existing blue sheet, and on the right is the macro embedded blue sheet. So I'm going to show you how to go through and copy and paste and put this into the new format. So the first I do is I go and I just copy all of the date, customer, sales rep, location, all of those things. This is not necessary if you're just going to use this to put it into the into HPC, but if you are going to use this as reference in the future, you can put all of those things in there for sure. So just wanted to let you know that. So that's the first thing. Then I go to the title, and I'll go in and I'll paste that one in here. And then I'll go to the product code, and I will select the right product code. So this is an IM case. It says IM -R, so I'm going to use the IMFR. Please note, not all of these are in here, so just pick the one that's as closest to what you think it is. We will work with the team and try and get this updated, but for right now, just pick one as close as you can. So then again, I would hit save. I do like to go down and change the tab into the new one as well, just so I'm consistent on everything I'm doing. And then we're ready to start converting. So the way the macro works is the part number becomes the parent in the HPC. So I'm just going to go through and copy all of the part numbers first. And I'm going to copy and paste those into the new one. Note the macro works that the first line has to be on line 14. That's where the macro will start reading this, and it goes from there. So that's why you have to put it on line 14 and then in column A. Now I'm just going to go through and copy some of these descriptions down so we can quickly do those. This one will go in the next one. And then we have 3 modifiers here on the new one that we can put more information in. So I'm going to go back and copy a little bit more of this information. So I'm going to do refrigerated module, in the first modifier. I will do RDI in the second, because there's a quantity for each of these. Now I just paste these as we go here. You could paste them all the way down and then just go back and take out the empty lines. Most of you who know Excel much better than I do probably have a better way, and I certainly would welcome any suggestions. I am trying to learn all of the things on Excel, so I just pop those in there, and then I go back and I get the quantities for each of these model numbers. And I'll go back over to this one and I'll pop those in the third modifier column here. So now we've really got all of the case model information itself done. So now we're going to work on the standards and the options. So I go down here. I like to enlarge my column C just so I can see everything that's in there. And I start and I copy all of the standard as well as the options for this one. And I'll copy and paste those over. And you have to make sure to have everything match up, that you want to put it on the same number of lines in between. So there was only one blank line here, so I only did one blank line here as well. And then to help things a little bit, it's easier for me if I copy the quantity and unit of measure and put those in next, just so I have a little bit of a reference when I'm doing other things. And then I'll hit save again. You can never hit save too much when you're doing something like this. So these blue sheets do have some modifiers in them as already. So I want to get those. Oops, I shouldn't have done that quite so soon. So I'm going to copy all of these modifiers now. Just so we have them, so I can copy them over. So I'm only going to copy those columns that have modifiers. And then you want to make sure that you're pasting on the same line. So this is in the standard, the painted exterior. So I'm going to come over here and go to painted exterior, and I'm going to paste right there. Now part of this macro, this new macro, is it reads from the left column of the modifiers first. So if you want something to show up, you have to have it in that left column. So you'll just have to move these over a little bit as we go here. As you can see on these at the top here, it says they're merged cells. So I like to, whoops, I like to unmerge these cells, just hit the merge cell here, and then it makes it easier for me to copy. Easy for me to say, huh? Copy those over. I'm going to copy these. Now one thing to note on these, the Tiger Drylac one here, you can see there's nothing in that first left modifier column. So you'll have to move that one over. And as you saw there, I got an error that this is a merged cell, so I'd have to come up and unmerge it, and then it will let me move it over. And I can go down here, and let's see what I got. There's anything else? We may as well just go from here. And again, it's only the ones that you want, or you're welcome to move all of them. It's just up to you how you want to do that. And one more time, this one needs to be moved to the left column. So there, we've got them all moved. I just quickly highlight them. Again, I don't know that this is necessary. I like to left justify them, and then just format the cells and take out any borders. So then I'll save it one more time. So now we're ready to transfer all of the pricing. So I go back to the original blue sheet, and I take and I highlight all of the quantities. And I'm going to cut them this time. And I'm going to move them over here to column D. This is so that the formulas transfer correctly when I'm through. So I'm just going to paste them here. It's not really going to matter. You're not going to save this document when you're done. We already have these descriptions in the new blue sheet. So this, by doing this, it will allow our formulas to transfer over correctly. So now I'm just going to grab, starting with the total list price, and I'm going to grab all of these formulas. And then I'll just copy those, and I'm going to come over here, and again line 14 is where I need to go, and I'm going to paste them. So now you see here this is listed as Q29 times C29, where C29 is your quantity, so that formulas have transferred over correctly. So we'll just kind of scroll down here, make sure we have everything. Make sure everything's in here. And I like to then take and match my two blue sheets and make sure the quantities match here. So I go through and I look at the total list price, and it looks like that one does match. Then I go over and look at the total customer price, that one matches, as well as the total standard cost. So I'll just pick this up, put it in here. So now we're really, I won't save this one because I'm through with what I need on here. And I'll just say don't save. And now we're going to look at this one. There's just a couple more things we need to do before we're done. Again, I'm just going to save this, make sure we have everything in there. The macro will work with multiple tabs, but you can only have one parent per per tab. So if you're going to be doing these, there can only be one parent in each of the tabs. So now I need to make sure this is going to show up in other Hussmann equipment. So I'm going to go in here and put included on these because we want these to show up. So I'm going to put that for all of them. And then I'm going to look and make sure that there's a unit of measure for each. For this one, the vertical front, I'm just going to put in, I probably should put in linear feet. Now this next one down, I look and it just says self-service. So I don't know for sure that an order management person would know that. So I'm going to put one each here and then linear foot here. So that shows up. Next one down shows top, so I think I'm fine there. And then we just want to go through and make sure that for each quantity that you have a unit of measure listed. Looks like we do, so we're good. One final thing that I do, after the model lines here, I add several cells or several rows. And I go in and I put drawing name, and I'll have to say one each for it to show up. And I would put in whatever drawing name I have, and then if there's an EFR or an EFT, I also would put that in here, and I would put the number so that shows up. And if there's any lead time, we want that to show up here as well, because we want that to be put on the proposal so that the customer will see that when they're doing things. I then go down and I look at anything, make sure if there's anything else. I go in, if I need a color of bumper, I would put that in. Here on my refrigerant, I want to make sure that I have a quantity, and I'm going to say R507. And on your valves, excuse me, your sensors, you really want to have the location as well as the quantity. So you may have one and it's in the discharge air, so you would say 1 and you would put where it is. If there's 2, if you have discharge air and return air, then you would do a quantity of 2 and put those both in. Order management has asked that we do this. So once we have everything in here that we've added, we go ahead and save it, and we should be ready to go to run this macro now. So let's try it and see. And this is a note that says remember to save this as the Excel 97 2003. You say OK. You want to make sure that you're saving this one that only has one import sheet in it. As you look, you can see the EFR, you can see the drawing name, you can see the valve, whatever it is, you can see these here. So then you would file, whoops, save as. And for this particular instance, I'm just going to name it test. And then you can delete this one, or you can close this one. Then it comes up with a second one where it will show your import sheet. If you have more than one case, you would have a tab for each case that would show what imported into the main sheet. I don't use this one, so I'm just going to cancel this. Don't save it. And then you're ready to go. So you can go into HPC and you can import that, and it should come across exactly like it was done. One thing to note, the blue sheet, even though you don't see it, shows 4 decimals. When it goes into the pricing, it only has 2, so your pricing may be slightly different by a couple of cents here and there. No big deal. For all the time that it saves you doing it this way, it's well worth the couple of cents that we're either losing or adding into this. So there you go. That's how you do the macro. I hope it helps. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.